A dream life is, we call it an and life. Most people choose to have this or that, to go here or there, to eat this or that, right? To go to work or to go to watch your children at their school play, right? Most people live an or life, and the dream life is about having an and life. You can have that and that. You can eat that and that. You can go here and there, right? A lot, but really what you're going to really understand and feel a lot is that you can too. Last year in 2025, we were actually home only 29 days in our Dallas home. We have a home in Dallas. We have a home in Malaysia. We also go to Singapore, and we live also in Laos, where we have a home in Laos as well. We were all in 29 days. The rest of the time, we went to 17 different countries, 34 cities. We went to 16 in-person events, 6 online events, while doing about 11 vacations last year. And then we've actually only been home in our Dallas home this year so far, 7 days. 4 weeks ago, we were in Boise, Idaho. We flew to Singapore. We were in Singapore 3 weeks ago. Last week, we were in Vientiane, Laos. We dropped my mom off, and now we are in Malaysia, in our house here in Malaysia as well. So that is who is here with you guys. And that's why we're definitely excited. And at the same time, being able to run an 8-figure business, I share that with you really to impress upon you that you can do it too. Get some clarity around that. Without a doubt, internally, we have about 60 virtual assistants that work for us. And now all of our VAs are being trained to be AI certified, right? 3 years ago, literally 3 years ago this month, one of our mentors, Peter Diamantis, at the beginning of 2023, he ran Abundance 360, and he said, in the next couple of years, there'll be 2 types of businesses. One, the first business who adopts AI, and then the second type of business is the business who goes out of business. So we have leaned into AI just as much as anybody. There's a different relationship with AI, right? You have to have a relationship with AI just like you would a person. There are people who have taken AI on a second date. There are people who have asked AI to marry them. There's people who have really leaned in, and AI is all part of their life, their relationship, their business, right? We married our AI. We are lovers for life, right? So automation is key. Those who are already system-based, process-based, people-based, and they're really good at creating systems around everything from their communications to their delegation. Those are the people that are going to really, really excel using AI, because you're already have a system. You're just plugging a faster vehicle. AI is a team member for us, right? You have 4 team members. You have your coaches, you have your peer group, people who work with you, and AI needs to be one of your team members, right? So I spent a full day together, and 3 pictures, uploaded them to my custom GPT, and it created 5 posts for me. It gave this whole post. It did it in less than 5 seconds.
One of the time that we go so fast and thought that we're winning, we actually lost. We actually lost $5 million while we're thinking we're going to make 10, because we were making it so fast, but we didn't get our foundation done. Usually not the first virtual assistant is your final virtual assistant. You got to date a couple times and get to know them before you think that they're the last one. The truth is, the number one reason why people don't really want to hire is because they don't want to fire. And so we actually help absorb the firing process. We're like, it's okay. Just hire. If you don't like it, we'll fire for you.
She lost her credit card, and she called Bank of America at that time. And the other person on the other line had an accent. You have an accent. You're not, what's your name? He said, man, if Bank of America can have foreign remote workers, virtual assistants, taking my personal information, why can't I do it too? So we hired our very first virtual assistants in 2010. And Monique has been with us ever since then. So she now runs our entire operations, right? Wealth or family, freedom or success, right? Ambition or peace, right? The or life has a name, and the name is the box. Because once that box was created, you live within it. And then they even condition you to, hey, if you want to, sometimes let's think outside the box. The and life is, there's no box. There's no box at all, right? There's no box. I remember I was 5 years old. It was right before nightfall. I remember these 3 gentlemen coming to my house when I was 5 years old. We lived with my grandma in Laos. That's where I was born. They came out on these motorcycles, and they threw us in the back of their motorcycles, me, my brother, my sister. And even though it was scary, I knew that it was safe because grandma wouldn't have let us go, right? Grandma and grandpa. So we're rushing these motorcycles. We finally make it to the banks of the Mekong River. And we get there, we crawl and hide. This is right before nightfall. We crawl and hide behind these tall grasses. And then we finally see mom. Mom was with another gentleman. And then we felt safe, but it was still scary. What are we doing here, right? But we knew that it was, even though it was scary, it felt right. It felt like the right thing to do. What we ended up finding out was we were going to cross that night. Starting in 1978 to 81, if you wanted a better life, you wanted to seek asylum, you actually had to escape Laos, because Laos is a communist country. So we ended up crossing. So once nightfall hit, we weren't the only families crossing, but me and my family were some of them. And we hopped in these makeshift canoes as soon as it got dark. The Mekong River is about 300 yards wide, and we made it about halfway. And when we made it halfway, at first we heard gunshots, and then we saw gunshots. And that's when our canoe flipped. And we're in the water, so me, my brother, my sister, my mom. I grab onto my mom grabs onto me. She's swimming about 150 yards across Mekong River just to get to the Thailand side. Because once you get to the Thailand side, like we did, we finally made it to the banks of the Thailand side, and the Thai military turns on their floodlights, and the Lao military has to stop shooting. Otherwise, it'd be an international incident. Some families didn't make it that night. We happened to make it. The two gentlemen that we hired, my mom hired out of the four, didn't make it as well. My parents, once we got safe to the Thai side, we went to a refugee camp called Napo, where we actually lived for about a year, waiting for approval to come to the United States. And then we got approval, got relocated to Minneapolis. At that time, it was called Murderapolis. It was so bad. And I watched my parents have to choose, right? We're on welfare, food stamps, government assistance for about 6 months until they realized that, man, the American dream is within reach if I worked hard enough. And I watched them choose to build a career first, because that was a responsible thing to do. So we didn't have a lot of time or money. We didn't come from wealth, but just like Jim Rohn said, if you did not come from a wealthy family, make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. That's my motto. That's my purpose in life, that I ensure that wealthy family must come from me. So time and money, we didn't have a lot. And I watched my parents have to choose whether to come to school for teacher-parent conferences or go to work, right? Whether to hang out with us over the weekend or go to work. My mom and dad worked 2 full-time jobs, Monday through Friday, for about 11 years, 12 years, and then another full-time job on the weekends as well. My parents ended up making $2.4 million. It took them a combined 69 years to make it. My dad worked for his company for 36 years. My mom worked for her company for 33 years just to make that much money. It's about the speed in which you make it so that you can actually have more time to actually enjoy it. Everybody lives as if we have more time, right? My parents' journey literally woke me up to the truth, because once you spend a second, you have one less second to spend. Money, you can always make more, right? Time is way, way more valuable. We don't get it back. And we need to do whatever it is to spend as much time as we can with ourselves and the people that love and all the things that we love.
If you don't know how to delegate, you don't know how to automate, you don't really put you first, usually we get consumed by responsibility. And that was my life. And then one day my kid to me and, "Mommy, can you play with me?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, babe, I cannot, because mommy have to work." And that just slapped me immediately. It's like, man, I'm becoming my mother and my kids is becoming me. I got to figure this out. But I did, until about 12 years ago, my mom actually had stage 3 breast cancer. And I could not go back home to keep her company for the journey. And actually, at that moment, my uncle actually had stage 4 colon cancer too. Unfortunately, he passed away. I have a second chance to hang out with my mom. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I am going to figure it out. I told mom I will be home every Chinese New Year, no matter what. And ever since I made that decision, my life changed significantly, because questions are the answers. Okay.
We went to an event called Date with Destiny, and Phyllis had questions for the answer. So we found out that in 2019, the question that drove us was, how can we be financially successful so that we can finally be happy? That was the question, the primary question. So no wonder it was all business first. It was all because we needed to be financially successful in order for us to be happy. So it was presupposing that we weren't happy, which was true. So we had to reach this certain goal first. But the problem is we did reach it, but we kept moving the goal and we kept moving the goal, we kept moving the goal. So thus, guess what? We were never happy, right? So we left Day with Destiny with a new question and we said, and that's how we discovered the and life. We said, man, if time and money were no longer an issue, how would we be living? How would we be living? So then we answered, right? We answered it. And basically, in short, we came up with our answer. Our answer is to go where we want, when we want, stay as long as we want, bring as many people as we want. So that's our family model. And that is how we discovered the and life, right? And because here's a truth. There are the three areas, or we call them the spheres of influence, that influence your life the most is yourself, your relationships, and your work or your mission, right? Your career, your business. That's it. The three areas that influence yourself the most. Yourself is obviously your B, your relationships are your do, and your work is your have, right? For most achieving entrepreneurs, work is very big. So for us back then, when we asked a different question, what ended up happening was our needs, our human needs changed. When we had that first set of questions, how can we be financially successful so that we could finally be happy? When we shifted, if time and money were no longer an issue, how would we be living? We moved into love and connection as a human need and growth and contribution, right? So now our needs change, so that had to change as well. Bronnie Ware wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The very first regret is I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. Second is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. The third is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Fourth is I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And then the fifth is I wish I had let myself be happier. Right. So this Stream Life Dream Business Challenge is literally all about that. Phyllis is going to share with you about her actual moment when I actually fell 40 feet. This happened in 2023 from a rock climbing accident that literally I almost died from, right? And the harness wasn't connected at all. I dropped 40 feet like a rock. And she's going to share with you her perspective, how fragile life really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Give yourself permission. And I promise you at the very beginning, it's going to be really, really hard. And just like what C said, about 2, 3 years ago, he fell. He cracked his backbone. At that moment, I remember when I sent him into the surgery room, I was crying. I was praying. I was like, please don't take him away, because I just don't know that this moment would have come so soon, right? Because I am only 43. He is not even 50 yet. And I'm handling this life and death situation. Good news is he healed really quickly.
As examples of what's actually showing that possible for us as well, and the type of decisions that we made, and then the design that we made to actually be able to live this dream life. And then you start saying, well, if I'm going to choose that first, then everything else is downstream after that. And that's what we want to share with you guys, how to actually do that. Make everything else downstream. Make everything else, especially your business should fund and fuel your dream life, not drain it.